using Trinket to do some programming in ClosScript. What does all that mean anyway? One thing computers are good at is doing tedious calculations. So that will be kind of our focus, and for that reason we will use a programming language geared towards calculations, often used in physics. There are other languages, but this particular one is good for calculations. To actually write a computer program is a list of instructions that the computer will follow. To actually write and make this program do things, you need some sort of environment. And there are a lot of languages, there are also a lot of environments. So this is the one we will be using, is at the website trinket.io. So everything lives in the cloud. You don't have to download something into your computer. They do want you to log in. You'll have your own space where your little programs live. You can sign up either just go in with whatever your Google is, that's fine, or you can sign up and make an account specific for trinket.io. So you can choose one of those to do. Go ahead and do it now. You can have a tab open and do the things as I'm doing them so you can watch them happen. So I already am set up. I find it easiest just to go in through one of my too many Google accounts. So when you actually sign up, log in, you'll see something like this. And we'll just start by going ahead and create something. They refer to the word Trinket is their word for the program or the code or the list of instructions that the computer is going to follow. So we're making a new one. There are many, many computer languages. The one we're going to use is a variation of what's called Python. It's a variation of Python that, on the plus side, has some nice visual aspects. It lets you make three-dimensional animations, for instance. The downside, you do not have access to some very powerful add-ons that regular Python has. So we're not going to really worry about the powerful add-ons. We just need the very basic Python, and we'll use the nice visual stuff. And that variation of Python is referred to on this list as ClosScript. Now Trinket gives you two ways of setting up programs. If you've done something called Scratch in middle school or high school, that's similar to what's on the right, which is blocks. Instead, we will do what's on the left, where we actually type in code and type in a line by line. So you'll see it says here Web VPython 3.2. I'm going to expand this a little for the moment. VPython was the original name of this variant of Python that has the three-dimensional aspect, the ability to make three-dimensional pictures. Web VPython is a newer name reflecting a version that actually lives on the cloud. ClosScript is another name that was used commonly, but apparently is also the name of something else. So now they tend to refer to it as Web VPython. So on the left here will be the lines of computer programming or instructions or code that you will type. And on the right will be the result that the computer tells us about, that it displays to us. And it always creates the first line in Trinket as being Web VPython 3.2. That tells us what we're using. We're using this variation of Python, so you can leave that line alone. And I always like to put a blank line, so if you see the flashing black cursor, if I hit enter, then it will create a new line, and we can type on these lines. First, it's a good idea to give your code, your program, a name, so you can find it easily later. So first program, you can call it whatever you want. And it's a good idea to save early and often. It's not letting me save yet because I haven't really typed anything. So what might we want a computer to do? Do calculations. Later, very tedious calculations. For now, it'll seem like a simple calculation. So we want to add 2 and 3. Well, 2 plus 3. There you go. Now, when you want the code, the set of instructions, the program to do something, you can go to this little play symbol, and it says view the result. That will actually run the program. In other words, this trinket site will go through what you have typed in here line by line, and it will do each line, and then do the next line, and then do the next line. So if I click here, I should see the result of 2 plus 3. Well, nope, don't see anything. I scroll down a little to see if there's any big red error message. Don't do anything, and there's a reason for this. Computers are very, very literal. They'll do exactly what you tell them to do. We just told it to do 2 plus 3. What did we not do? We did not tell it to tell me the result of 2 plus 3 or display the result of 2 plus 3. So that is something that has to be added to this. There's various ways of doing this. We'll see a couple of ways. First of all, if we wanted to display something, and something we want to display needs to be inside parentheses. In other words, this is going to be what's called a function. A function is something that somebody else has created that we can use in our program. And somebody has created a function that will let us display the result. And that name of that function is print. Excuse me. So if I want to display or print the result of 2 plus 3, I put the 2 plus 3 in parentheses and type the word print before it. So print is a function that somebody else has created. The 2 plus 3 inside the parentheses, that's called the argument of the function. So this function will now calculate 2 plus 3 and print it out so we can see it. At least that's the theory. Save early and often. There, it actually saved this time. So, view the result. Run the program. Whoop, there it is, 5. So the nice thing about this particular environment we're using, the Trinket environment, is we can type in code on the left, run it, click on view the result, and the result, what's being printed out, will show up on the right. Okay. When you write in a program, sometimes it's nice to put in what are called comments. Start with a hashtag. And this particular line, line number 3, will be for our benefit. The computer will not try and do anything with this line. It will ignore it because it starts with that hashtag or that pound or that number symbol. Print or display sum of 2 and 3. Okay, I'll save that just because. And if I run it, that will not affect the result. Okay, well, we can do other calculations. If I select it, do whatever, copy something on your computer, and click at the end. Hit a couple enters, get on a new line. I can paste it. And let's say I want to do the product. Well, the way to do a product is to use an asterisk symbol. That would be Shift 8. So the plus symbol is plus. Multiplying, you have to have the asterisk symbol. Save early and often. View the result. And there, that is 2 times 3. Okay, so I can get the flashing cursor at the end of line 7, hit enter a couple times. It's nice to have a little bit of blank space just for readability. So what do you think if I want to do a division? So again, this line has a hashtag at the beginning, so the computer will ignore it. Hit enter. What do you think I'll need to put here? Try it out. Stop the computer, stop the video and try it out for a second. Okay, you're back. Well, to display the result, we need print. What we're printing needs to be inside the parentheses. You'll notice that when I type the left parentheses, it is very helpful, and also types the right parentheses, and I'm in between. Dividing is the slash. Save early and often, view the result. And there you go, 2/3. Okay, let's try another one. 2 minus 3. You have to actually click over here and get the flashing black cursor. Hashtag for count, 2 minus 3. Enter a new line. Try something out. Minus 1, yep, so far so good. Okay, there's another very useful thing. That is to be able to put something to a power. So 2 to the power 3. Or sometimes you'll see it written like this, 2 caret 3, 2 raised to the 3rd power. What do you think you might do for that? Try something. You might have tried this, 2 caret 3, 2 to the 3rd power. And 2 to the 3rd is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. It's definitely not 1. Okay, so that's a little Python quirk. With any language, there are certain things that you simply need to memorize, and one of them is if you want to do a power, it's not a caret. Instead, it's 2 asterisks. You don't have to believe me. You can try it yourself. There you go. So we can do calculations, and it shows the calculations. So at this point, it's like a calculator. There's a couple other things we can do. For instance, we might say, well, you know, over here I printed the result of 2 and 3, and it says 5, but what if I come back to this later? I don't know what these numbers mean. So it might be useful if here, where it says 5, it would say 2 plus 3 is 5. And that way I know what this is, if all I have to look at is the results. I don't want to have to go looking back and forth to see what this was. So if I go back over to the right, I'm going to click on line 4 after the left parentheses, put the cursor there, and I'm going to print something more. I want it to print 2 plus 3 is. But I don't want to print 2 plus 3 as a number. I want it to print out the text that says 2 plus 3. So when you want to do that, when you want to print text, you use quotation marks. So I type out open quotation, 2 plus 3 equals, close a quotation, and I do a comma and a space just to make it readable. So what is this saying? Inside of the quotations is some text that will print out, and then it's also going to print out what 2 plus 3 is. The second 2 plus 3 is not in quotation marks, so it will be a number, and it will be a math operation, 2 plus 3. What will it do with the stuff in quotations? It will actually print out as text. So if you want to just print something as text without doing a math calculation, you put it inside quotation marks. If you want to print out something that is a calculation, it is without the quotation marks. If you want to print multiple things on a line, you separate them by commas. So I may want to add another text here. Is the answer. Why would you want to do that? I don't know, but it's in quotation marks, so it will print out that text. Save early and often. So let's see if you can do something similar down here in line 7. Add a text that will say something along the lines of 2 times 3 is, or the product of 2 and 3 is. Pause the video, try it out. Well, here's one way, in quotations. 2 times 3 is, close quotations, that's the end of the text we want to print, and a comma to separate the two different things. Okay, and we could keep going like that. You can try doing something similar for the other 3. Print 2 divided by 3 is, another comma. Print 2 minus 3 is, close quotations. Print 2 cubed is, save, and there we go. So you've been saving this as you go, and you might think, well, where is it? If you go over and click on my trinkets, that's one way to find it. I have a lot of stuff here. These are all folders that I've sorted stuff in, but eventually we will come to first program. And there it is.